Hello, elementary division teachers. It's great to be with you this morning, even though it's over the summer. My job today is to have an elementary bite-sized PD with you and give you some great resources to think about implementing on the first day when kids get back. So this is called Game-Based Learning and Engagement. I hope you enjoy this video blog. And my purpose today is to how to better engage students using games or technology. And this is session one of two other sessions I would plan to do this coming school year. So our short agenda this morning is to use technology to engage. So talk about the why a little bit. I want to give you the three best tools, in my opinion, that we could implement in 2024-2025. And those include quizzes, Class Dojo, and Blukit, which I had to practice pronouncing the right way. And also some interactive practice for you and some resources that you can take with you right after this short PD session. So let's get started right away. So this whole session this morning, the first one is about interactivity and engagement. It's so important. Because of COVID-19, many things came from it. It was a very difficult time. However, sometimes, like a forest fire, things can grow or be beautiful as an outcome of something that's not great or horrible. So the effects of COVID-19 obviously forced us in a way to leverage technology at a faster rate than we would feel comfortable with. But the growth that I've seen in this building and the division alone has been substantial. So as you can see there with Berger and Klein Boone Shotty, the effects have helped us leverage it more, but it's helped make lessons engaging and more interactive, which is important. That interactivity leads to less lecturing, which tends to happen. That's the way I taught when I was in the classroom. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy being a storyteller, which is fine, but it's important now to know that increases self-efficacy and asking those questions to provide good feedback, as you can see in the Bowmeister. Also, it's well known that engaging them is essential for deeper understanding, critical thinking, and dynamic learning environment. And this is all, this kind of instruction is the best form of classroom management. If you can design interactivity and engagement in your lessons and they're purposeful, your classroom management will be easier by default. And then one more resource and research I wanted to share is Ewan and other authors noted that gaming, what we're going to talk about, just the definition that we'll think about today is technology like computers, phones, any sort of device that plays digital games that are interactive, motivating, and have hardware or software that connect players with other players. And in this case, it would be students in the classroom. So what does it look like to use it? I want to be clear and say that I'm a huge fan of technology, but I also am very leery of it because I want to make sure I'm using it the right way, and I want you guys to do the same. So there are many advantages to it, like personalizing learning. There is something in that reference there called the dynamic difficulty adjustment, or the DDA, which is very helpful with educational technology. We see that in some things we use. I'll get to that in a second. Improved accessibility is a great advantage. You know, we've heard things, and I've heard in a course I'm taking about the digital divide, and we're fortunate that, we vetted and know that every family in here has access to a device, but that's not always the case. It gives us data-driven insights for you guys that we can find that out information in real time, and it connects real students with real-world data and real-world scenarios, which is big for me. I want that real-world application. But there are also disadvantages. Some of those concerns include privacy concerns. Martin et al. Noted that one of the biggest concerns noted by teachers was teacher training and privacy. They're worried about getting in trouble if a student gets himself into trouble, either on purpose or by accident. This, of course, some other ones reduce social interactions when the students are staring at a device like you are, or an increase in screen time, which they're beginning to research more and more on the eyes or overall health, lack of physical exercise, things like that. So how can games enhance learning in the elementary level in our division whenever they're used appropriately? Well, they can make learning engaging and interactive. Like I said, those are the two buzzwords for this morning, and it's more fun. And I mean that. It used to be a word that could not be used, but you can teach well and have fun, and that's what I want for our kids in our buildings. And so by incorporating these kind of things that I'm going to show you are kind of a form of game-based learning or gamification, you can create dynamic and immersive learning experiences aligned to curriculum, not just to have fun, not just to fill time, but to teach well and to teach to the standards and curriculum to make sure that you can go home every day knowing that you did your job well as an educator. So some learning approaches. The two ones that I've talked about so far are game-based learning and gamification. So game-based learning is games designed with educational purposes, built around objectives that align to education. And the assessment includes the real-time progress, or back to that DDA thing, that difficulty adjustment, to let kids know. So some examples of that we use today are exact path in math and now ELA, and that will gauge where a student is in real time and then adjust questions accordingly. Or FRAX, or reflex, which you used to use to adjust what students need in real time as they need it, and then they'll give them practice on what they need in that very same lesson. This is a little different than gamification, which is adding game designs to a non-gaming contexts. You do this very naturally. You might not know it's called gamification. And this is used to enhance, to motivate, engage, and increase participation. This is things like points or badges, leaderboards, or challenges. If you do like an exact path math challenge like our coaches do, that would be an example of gamification. Or making things that you normally do more fun and engaging because you've gamified them or made some sort of competition out of them. So now it's time for the exciting part, my top 3. And I'm going to show you some of these resources. So these are my top 3 educational apps or tools that we can use to help students interact more with one another and engage more in their learning. So my first one is quizzes, and that is a quiz and interactive lesson tool. So if you click that, the Q right there, it's going to take you to quizzes. I have it open right here. So there's my account. As I've explored this, it starts you with this nice welcome menu and asks what you're teaching this week. So I could type something in like, well, I am teaching fractions this week. And it's going to give me a search bar. It's going to give me quizzes that are already created. It's going to give me not only quizzes, but lessons that I can create. Passages if it applies. So think of like texts for ELA or embedding texts in like a science or social studies. And then it gives assessments as well. So in this case, it has some assessments that are done. If you hover over it, it will show you what it looks like, which is great. Some of them involve videos of the questions, which is really cool. You can filter by grade. So let's say I know fractions is heavy starting in 3rd grade foundations, but more 4th grade. And so there you go. There's a lesson on equivalent fractions, which is a standard. Now, if we go back, we can look at something. One way I wanted to implement or show you what quizzes is like is to have some summer trivia time, of course. So I want to have some fun this morning. So let's get our summer trivia on. So you can either scan that QR code or you can click the sunglasses. And then that'll get us started in a little summer quiz. So I'm going to go to my library, and it's going to show the Northside PD Summer Trivia Quiz. So we're going to go ahead and start that now. You can pick a game mode. I'm going to go with classic mode in case you haven't seen this, but there are a lot of other cool game modes down there that you can do. Mastery Peak is a really fun one. But let's go to classic mode. Over here you can customize, and then you click start. It's going to load. And then it's going to be waiting for participants. So you can either scan that QR code, or if you go to the website, you can enter that 6-digit code or joinmyquiz.com. So once everybody's ready, we will go ahead and get started with some summer trivia. Looking forward to it. And I do have a prize for the winner, so let's do this. So normally here, Dr. Holland would play the quiz and then move on. So very good job. So a little review with that. Going back, there's some more. There's a great support site that I wanted to show you, letting you know what is quizzes. And then on the left here, the articles in this section are really good. How to create a lesson, how to create, how to add state standards, and we're going to get to that in a second. I really like that one. Some of my favorite things. It's free. Can you upgrade it for a fee? Yes. It works well within student devices on our network. New information is displayed and mirrored in real time, so it can be pushed out whenever you can share right on your screen. Self-service has us available to push that out today, so you can download it on all devices within minutes. And I really wanted to show you the digging deeper, the standards-based assessment piece. So if you go back to that support section, it could say, how do you add the state standards on a quiz, or how do you use the state standards on a quiz? This really good article will show you. And you'll see right down here, it's going to have all those standards for the PA core standards right there. It says that they are listed there. And so what I've done is I've looked through that article, and then I wanted to create something that you can take with you today. So going back to my lessons, One thing that I did in my library was I looked at our first unit for math, and I looked at our first midpoint quiz, and I created for you a 5-question assessment that you could take with you today for midpoint 1 and unit 1, and I did that for every grade except 4th because I wanted to show you how that works. So here is how you can create. So when you go to the create button, I'm going to create an assessment, and I'm going to input worksheets. You can do that in 3 different ways. And then here, I found it easiest that whenever you go to our midpoint, this is our midpoint here, that if you download it as a PDF, it works better. And then if I go over here, I'm going to say upload from a device. I'm going to go to my downloads. And then there's my Unit 1 midpoint. So that's going to upload. There it is right there. The number of questions I'm going to set to 5. And then I'm going to make sure that my grading subject is math and then 4th grade. And I'm going to generate that quiz. So that's going to take just a few seconds. And then what's cool, one of the features I like about this is AI is now embedded in it to use. But sometimes I like to show you this one because I know that some of the questions aren't going to transfer over perfectly. Because you can see some of our pictures over here. It's not going to transfer. It's not as smart as we would like it to be, but it does a pretty good job. So some of these first ones, the pictures aren't working very well. So what I could do is I could delete those ones. Yes, you can add your own picture to it. Remember, this is a midpoint, so you might want to create something that's a little different. This one you can delete by delete. That one looks good. That one looks good. And then here's recommendations, the feature I wanted to show you, which I really like. So this one shows a word problem showing a number in standard form, asking you to put it in, in written form, asking you to put it in standard. So you could add that question. And then let's go with one that is the opposite. There's one that's standard form, so we could add that one. And so you go back up to the top, and there's my 5 questions, okay? So you can search questions also based on topic. That's right up there. And whenever you're done, you can click Publish right up here. And then it'll publish your quiz. So that shows your quiz. I'm just going to go up here and change it so it's the same title as the other ones. So I did 4th grade, midpoint 1, unit 1. So there's that. So then if I look at my library, there it is. 4th grade, midpoint 1. And then you could share that out. You can play it immediately. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, you have all those ready for you. I hope you enjoy. So we're going to go ahead on to our second one. And our second one I really like is Class Dojo. Some teachers use Class Dojo in our building, and I know other buildings as well. This is an educator communication and motivation tool. I like this. A lot of teachers use this as just classroom management system, but it's also great for communicating with families. I'm going to get out of that to clean up my space. So let's take a look at Class Dojo. If you click on the picture, it's going to take you to the website. But before we do that, I really like this video. I wanted to share it with you. It's a very quick video, and it can explain it much better than I can. So let's take a look together.
What makes an amazing classroom? Is it having shiny new desks? Is it that fearless classroom pet in the corner? Or maybe it's something you can't see. Maybe it's about the classroom community you build with students, teachers, and parents. In a classroom where students all work together, persevere through challenges, and help each other out along the way. These moments should never go unnoticed. This year, you'll be using Class Dojo to celebrate those moments in class and share them home. You'll each start with your very own monster. And anytime you show an important skill, like working hard or being creative, your teacher can award you a point on Class Dojo. For those extra exciting moments, your teacher can take a photo or video. Best of all, your parents will get to see all the skills you're building and share in your unforgettable classroom moments. So let's get started. What skills do you want to recognize in your classroom?
So like I said, that video is much better than what I could share with you. But what I like that I think is really neat about this, let's take a look at Class Dojo. I'm going to start with um, just getting to my homepage there. You'll see Northside Elementary. That's where I work. And then you have your whole class. And then I really like to be able to show it since I can't make my class. You can go down to demo class here. And so in the demo class, let me just move myself up here. You'll see there are students here. So there's a whole class. There's Beyonce, Denzel, Jennifer, Justin. You can make groups. You can do class story. So if we look at whole class, there are some skills that are already embedded there for you, helping others, on task, participating, so on and so forth. What I really like is you could add skills. You could change these skills based on your school rules, if you have something like that. If you're a PBIS school, for example. So it says, choose which points you like your family to see. So again, parents download the app, and then at the end of every day, they can see in real time how their students did. They can see pictures in real time, too, of what you're doing in the classroom. It's really, really fun. So there's positive skills. You can also do skills that you need to work on. If you have goals for particular students, you can assign those to the whole class or just specific students. So there's their info there, and you can change all those things. So there's like on task. So I was at whole class. So let's say the whole class did a super job working really hard on their science project. So I just added a point to everybody in the class. But with Beyonce, for example, that's just Beyonce over here. She did a really good job because we had been working together on teamwork. And so she was really doing a nice job with her two students in her group. And so I really want to honor Beyonce as an individual student. So I just gave her her own point for teamwork. So then when you go to class story, this is something that your families would see during the day. You can add photos or videos, events that are coming up, or a file to share with families. Messages. I have a lot of teachers that use this as their messaging platform with families. It's much more, it's quicker, it's shorter, it's more concise. A lot of teachers like using this, and it takes away from having to use email all the time when you want to give something quick and short. Like, hey, your student forgot their charging device. Can you please send it in with them tomorrow? Or we need a field trip permission slip. Or thank you so much for volunteering to be in today. We really appreciate you. I could take a look at the first grade example here. Excuse my video. There we go. So I just want to be able to show you what a class looks like. So there's a class from this past school year, 647 whole class points. I think that's in the trimester. And then if we look at the class story, this shows you some examples of what Mrs. Brinzer, first grade teacher, sent out. So like there's our end of the year thank you. This is her sharing some pictures with students. This is her celebrating just some memories of the class and some things they did together. So that was 2 years ago. Here's her updated class for this school year. Class story. There's again the thank you. Reminders about the last day of school. So there's that early dismissal reminder there. Here's their celebration in the classroom. And this is a reminder to bring in their iPads and charging cord to collect them for the summertime. So just a short example of some awesome stuff that can do. Some things I really like. Data is transmitted through the website, so that's easy. It's in real time. This is an excellent family communication tool, like I said. Excellent classroom management. Support and resources are ready to go. And I really like the teacher resources tab. So I'm going to open up that. There's a link in there in the presentation. These tutorials are really good. Teacher account walkthrough is right there. Getting started documentation is right there. There's something called islands that you can do. I really love and recommend this one. Even if you don't know how to do this well, Danielle and I can come in and teach your class and teach you about it if you like it. There's your quick start guide. That's super helpful. I really like the family introduction letter. This is going to be something you can just print and send home to families and let them know that they need to sign up. That way, it's going to make sure all your families are connected and you can get started right away. This is something I would send home on the first day of school. So I have that linked in there so you can take a look at those teacher resources. So I hope you like that one. And last, we're on the final educational tool, and that is Blukit. And you pronounce it. It's not Blukit. It's Blukit. I had to look at the pronunciation key on that, I admit. This is gamification, kind of like quizzes for trivia and review. I really like it because, again, this one is free. Can you upgrade for a cost? Yes. If you click on this picture, it will take you to Blukit. I have my account open here, and it takes you here, and you can discover right away and get started very, very quickly. That's what I like about this one. So if we go to My Sets, You'll notice I'm new. I don't have a set started, but there is a getting started tutorial I wanted to share with you. This is a great video that I watched. It's 4 minutes long and helped me get started. That's your quick start guide for teachers. The game modes is something I'm going to show you that's really cool, and then how to sign up and what is a block. It's basically this way that students can get these skins or these blocks or blocks, and that they can decorate them and make them kind of like their own pet, or they can do different kinds of skins and things for them. So when you go to Discover, quizzes will be on there. If you make an account, it's going to ask you what subjects you teach or what you're interested in. I'm going to go ahead and put something in that I know is a new steel standard for 3rd grade. Oh, excuse me. And that is going to be inherent traits for animals, science. So inherent and acquired traits. This is for animals. I know this is a 3rd grade standard. And I know that's like 313B or something like that, which is a new steel standard. So there's one right there. Animals for science. And then in this section, it gives questions. Now, if you wanted to, you could make a copy of this, and if you wanted to add more questions, if you want to modify some questions, you can do that too right here, make a copy. You can host your game. You could even assign this as homework, which is a really fun tool. Or you can play it by yourself for a student to assign, if you assign it to a student. You can show answers to preview them to make sure they're correct, and you could add this to play it. Now, if you host a game, you would click Host. And then this is really cool, kind of like quizzes, but these games I would say are a little more engaging for students, in my opinion. I've seen some of them in play. Some of the best ones I think are Gold Quest, Fishing Frenzy, and the Battle Royale. But look, take a look at it. There's a lot to choose from, around 12 to 14. So you can pick your game. It gives a little description over here. It tells you the minimum number of players. And let's go to Fishing Frenzy, and then you can host your game. When you host your game, you can say host now. It's going to give you the time for the game. Does it end after this? Does the game end after a player reaches a certain amount? And then there's the instructions. You can modify those before you play, which is a nice thing. So then host now when you're ready. Some fancy music is going to come on, and then once again, that's this time's a 7-digit code. Waiting for people to enter here. They could also enter by using their devices if they have one to copy that QR code and get in there. So after you play that game, you can go ahead and explore. Discover again is a tab I want to take you back to, and you can create those things. So some other things I really love about this. It is free. Again, you can upgrade. And AI, you can see, is obviously the newest trend. It is included in a lot of these upgrades that can create things for you. Easy implementation today is what I really, really like. I think that the help desk for Bluekit, is really good. There's a separate one for educators and for students. The FAQ is really strong. The quick start guide is there. And then if you're having a problem, some of your most common problems are right there. This is for face-to-face. It could be used for synchronous, asynchronous learning. This is a great one for distance learning, and I really like the support and resources that are ready to go. And that includes the concise FAQ page, which is right there that I linked in the presentation. So to end our time together, I just wanted to review and say thank you for what you do. You know that I would not do this job if I did not have good relationships with you and with the students. But I also wanted to note that this is not a bite-sized PD just to let you know that please use this technology. It's a bite-sized PD to say that the objective of teaching is to use strategies and outcomes to love our kids. It is not to just avalanche them with technology. So you can see some of that research there. We're not just incorporating technology into the classroom to say that we did it. We're doing it to achieve specific learning outcomes and to strengthen our instruction. I love this quote from a course text that I'm taking right now. Best practices in using educational technology means that technology is used as a tool for learning, not as a focal point for class instruction, which means I want you to make sure that you know that you are the main teacher in the classroom. You are the best thing, research says, that has the difference on student achievement and student growth. That includes their social-emotional development. So technology, I like to say, is a tool. It is not the toolbox. You are the toolbox. Gamification and game-based learning works, but it must match the interests, needs, and expectations as intended by the proposed practice. You have to use professionalism. You have to use best practices in order to make this work. Don't just use something because you think it looks fun or it takes up time. And you guys know this, but I just wanted to remind you. And I like this last one. Good teachers improve student outcomes when strong teaching practices are engaged. That's hands-on, student choice, peer interaction. But that stuff can be used within the 3 tools that I gave you. A lot of those things can be hands-on if you're working in those teams. Student choice is in every one of those, and peer interaction is huge. So just to say it if you ring it out, interactivity matters, engagement matters, and you matter because you matter to me, and the kids matter to you, and the kids matter to me too, of course. But I want you to continue to do your job, and I want to try to my best to always equip you with tools to help you do your job in a way that might be a little bit easier for you in some ways, but also that you would continue to have fun and have those experiences of joy throughout the day. So if you'd like to know some of my references, those are there for you, but I genuinely appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer. Look forward to Bite Size PD Session 2 with you first thing in the fall. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your summer, friends.